So in the case of phases of respiration, we have to see there are two different phases in respiration. One, to start with, the respiration is actually exchange of gas between an organism and its environment. And this definition you have studied maybe from high school class onwards. And the main purpose of respiration is to give oxygen to the tissues and give out carbon dioxide from the body. So that is the primary purpose of respiration. And we have two different phases in respiration. One is external respiration. And what is happening in the case of external respiration is that gas exchange between external environment and blood in the lungs. For example, we are taking air into our lungs, and in the lungs the air will be entering into the blood, and from the blood carbon dioxide will be entering into the air inside the lungs, and that air we are pumping out or removing from our lungs. So this is actually this process involves an important process known as inhalation. Inhalation means breathing in of air. We are taking air into our lungs. So that is normally atmospheric air containing a lot of oxygen. That oxygen-rich air is taken into your lungs. And inside the lungs, we have number of smaller alveoli. And this air sacs will be helping in the diffusion of oxygen into our blood. So that process is known as a gas exchange in the alveoli. And this part is now actually considered as the external respiration. Air from atmosphere is taken into our lungs. Then there are two important events are there. There are two, that is, one is a transport of oxygen and second one is a transport of carbon dioxide. Now oxygen that we are taking into our lungs will be diffusing and entering into the blood. In the blood, this oxygen will be combined with RBC or red blood cells, and this RBC which is filled with the hemoglobin will be taking this oxygen to different parts of the body, and there it is delivering its oxygen to various cells or various tissues. So this is how the transport of oxygen is working. And similarly, carbon dioxide is also transported by the blood in a blood or RBC in a similar way. There are three different types of carbon dioxide transport. One is transported in the form of plasma, or in the form by which it is attached to hemoglobin, or as a bicarbonate ions, about which we will be discussing. So that is the basic idea of transport of gases. What are the different types of gases which are transported during respiration? Then another method is known as the phase is known as internal respiration. Oxygen is released from oxyhemoglobin. What is oxyhemoglobin? Now, when we are studying about the blood, RBC, we know that RBC is full of hemoglobin. And this hemoglobin, when combines with oxygen, it becomes oxyhemoglobin. So that is the oxyhemoglobin. So when oxygen is in the lungs, from the lungs the air will be entering into the blood, and in the blood oxygen will combine with the hemoglobin, forming oxyhemoglobin. That oxyhemoglobin will be transporting to various parts of your body, and there it will be delivering its oxygen. And the second is the carbon dioxide. The carbon dioxide produced by the cells will be also transported by your blood or to the lungs, and from the lungs it will be expelled from the body. So this process is what we call as the internal respiration. And there is one more event, that is cellular respiration. This is taking place at the level of cells, where oxygen is used in the mitochondria to produce ATP from glucose and nutrients. So formation of ATP is actually coming under the term cellular respiration, and during this process we are getting carbon dioxide and water as a byproducts. So there are three phases are the external respiration, internal respiration and cellular respiration. In the case of cellular respiration, mainly it is resulting in the formation of ATP. ATP is the energy currency by which energy is produced by your body. So that is the main event in cellular respiration. And in the case of internal respiration, it is simply the formation of oxyhemoglobin and delivering the oxygen to different tissues, and similarly transport of carbon dioxide. Now in the case of external respiration, it is mainly inhalation and exhalation. Inhalation means taking in of air into your lungs. Exhalation means giving out of air from your lungs to the outside. So these are the various processes which are involved in the different phases of the respiration: internal respiration, external respiration, and cellular respiration. Then what is remaining is another area is the respiratory pigment. So for example, we have already studied hemoglobin. You might have also learned about the myoglobin or sometimes hemocyanin. So in the case of respiratory pigments, these are actually proteins, and these proteins transport either oxygen or carbon dioxide in the blood to tissues and cells of the animal. So such proteins which are capable of transporting oxygen and carbon dioxide are known by the name respiratory pigments, and they have a very high affinity for oxygen. Affinity means attraction. So they can easily combine with oxygen, forming oxyhemoglobin, and they are helping in the gas exchange between blood and the air. So these pigments are known as the respiratory pigments. So there are different types of respiratory pigment. The most common type of respiratory pigment is known as a hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is present in RBC, and it has four units are there, and there will be iron compound heme group C present at the center. So that is how the structure of hemoglobin is the, and their function, it binds with oxygen forming oxyhemoglobin, and it will be transporting to various tissues. Similarly, it is also transporting carbon dioxide back to the lungs. This is the main function of the hemoglobin. Another pigment is known by the name myoglobin. As far as the myoglobin is concerned, in case of hemoglobin, we have four chains are combined together, or four units are there. But in the case of myoglobin, only one chain is there. That is the pigment. About myoglobin, you will be studying in detail. So it is a single chain protein with the one heme group. In the case of hemoglobin also there is a heme group. Heme is an iron rich group. So, and this myoglobin is mainly found in muscle cells. Then the function of myoglobin is that it is acting as a storehouse of oxygen. It is storing oxygen in the muscle, and it will be releasing it during the periods of high demand. For example, when you are running, it is the oxygen for this movement of oxygen for the working of your muscle is actually provided by the myoglobin. So myoglobin is act as a storehouse or a reservoir of oxygen. So that is the main function of myoglobin. Then another pigment is known as hemocyanin. Hemocyanin is found only in invertebrates like mollusks and arthropods. Here it is a copper containing pigment. That is why it is blue in color, hemocyanin. And function of hemocyanin is that it is binding with oxygen. It binds with oxygen in oxygen-rich environment and release it to tissue. Same way how hemoglobin is working, this hemocyanin is working, but it is blue in color because of the presence of copper. So oxygenated hemocyanin appears blue. So that is the nature of hemocyanin. Then two more pigments are there. One is chlorocruorin, and that is found in certain polychaete worms, and it is also similar to hemoglobin. It is structurally and slightly different, but main function of chlorocruorin is same as in the case of hemoglobin, transport of oxygen. So it is a pigment present in polychaete worms. Now we have one more pigment, that is a hemoerythrin. In the case of hemoerythrin, it is found in marine invertebrates. And here there is a iron. It is also an iron containing pigment. That is, the center will be an iron, and it has also the capacity of binding directly with oxygen and without a heme. That is one advantage. It binds oxygen directly to iron atom. But in the case of the hemocyanin, iron is present along with a few other substances and combined form is known as heme group. But here in the case of hemoerythrin, advantage is that it can directly bind oxygen to iron atom. So that is one advantage of hemoerythrin. but it is not present in higher animals. In most of the vertebrates we have hemoglobin and myoglobin. So this is an idea regarding what are the different types of pigments. We have hemoglobin, myoglobin, hemocyanin, chlorochlorine, etc. And out of which the most prominent is the hemoglobin. And about myoglobin we have to study a little more in detail.